Dossier report. Open up your mind. Haiti gang releases all 12 Christian missionaries held captive for 2 months. A Haitian gang has released all of the remaining hostages that were kidnapped on October 16th outside the capital of Port-au-Prince. The State Department and Haiti National Police confirmed on Thursday, ending a 2-month hostage crisis that gripped the Caribbean nation. Of the original 17 Christian missionaries and their family members that had been abducted in October, 12 remained in custody until Thursday. We welcome the news that the remaining 12 individuals, including 11 U.S. citizens and 1 Canadian citizen, are free and will soon be reunited with their loved ones. A State Department official told the Miami Herald and McClatchy, Washington Bureau on Thursday, the welfare and safety of U.S. citizens abroad is the highest priority of the Department of State. We continue to provide all appropriate assistance to them and their families. The official says we express our deepest appreciation to our Haitian and international partners as well as the U.S. Interagency for their assistance in facilitating their safe release. The hostages were abducted just east of Port-au-Prince by a notorious gang 400 Mawozo and were among a group of 12 adults and 5 children, including an 8-month-old. Let's see. Sorry about that. Today there is a feeling of contentment, not just for the hostages and the American and Canadian people, but for Haiti, said Gideon John, director of the Center for Analysis and Research in Human Rights in Port-au-Prince, which monitors kidnapping. John, noted that the last of the hostages were held for 2 months. That is highly unusual and calls for the U.S. This helps fund the Haitian National Police to provide effective support going forward, John said. There are so many Haitians terrorized by kidnappings. Terrorized by kidnappings and extreme levels of violence, even as the humanitarian and security crisis in Haiti continues to worsen, said U.S. Representative Andy Levin, who is a Democrat from Michigan, founder and chair of the House Haiti Caucus. This year alone, nearly 800 people in Haiti have been kidnapped. He reiterated my fervent belief that the United States and the international partners must work urgently to support Haitian-led efforts to bring about a real and accountable democracy that could bring peace and security to the Haitian people. In a statement, the Ohio-based Christian Aid Ministries that ran the missionary trip thanked the public for its fervent prayers over the past 2 months. We glorify God for answered prayer. The remaining 12 hostages are free. The group said in a statement, join us in praising God that all 17 of our loved ones are now safe. Initial reports out of Haiti suggest that the group was released in the vicinity of Morne-à-Cabrit, a summit at the edge of the commune of Croix des Bouquets, leading to the Central Plateau. What remained unclear is whether a ransom was paid to free the 12 hostages, and if so, how much. FBI agents have been in Haiti since the day after the abduction, offering guidance to Haitian authorities as the gang negotiated with relatives of those held captive. And the charity U.S. officials also reported that President Joe Biden was regularly being briefed on the hostages. On Thursday, Deputy White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre thanked U.S. law enforcement and the United Oh yeah, and the State Department for his work. Oh, no. Yeah, and the State Department for his work. As she addressed the press, the freed hostages were in the diplomatic lounge at the Toussaint Louverture International Airport in Port-au-Prince, awaiting a charter flight back to the U.S. We welcome reports that they are free and getting the care that they need after their ordeal. She said the U.S. government has been working tirelessly over the past 2 months to get them freed. The missionaries and their relatives are a part of the Mennonite community. They were kidnapped in the area of La Tremblay in Ganthier on October 16th after visiting an orphanage and were the longest held hostages in the country, where kidnappings for ransom have continued unabated. After the abduction, Christian aid ministries asked supporters to pray and to fast to intercede for those who are still being held as well as those who have been released. The first two of the hostages, a married couple, were released in late November on humanitarian grounds after the gentleman became ill, followed by three more missionaries on December 5th after they were freed. U.S. State Department spokesman Ned Price said the U.S. was continuing to work at the highest levels with the Haitian government and Canada to do everything we can to see to it that the remaining hostages are released as soon as possible. The gang had asked for $17 million or $1 million per person. To release the hostages, one of his leaders had threatened to kill the hostages if the ransom was not paid. Haiti has seen an unprecedented spike in gang violence and kidnapping following the July 7th of its presidency, Jovenel Moise, which was later followed by a magnitude 7.2 earthquake on August 14th in the southern region of the country. Gangs have hijacked fuel tankers and blocked the main road connecting the capital of Port-au-Prince with the with the southern peninsula as well as other regions. Since June, violent clashes between warring armed groups have led to the displacement of more than 19,000 Haitians living in the Martissan neighborhood. The release of the hostages came as the State Department. The release of the hostages came as the State Department was finalizing plans to ask foreign partners on Friday to make commitments to prevent further deterioration in Haiti. As the country's security crisis deepens, security crisis deepens. The State Department said the wine, the wine, the widening insecurity amid the country's deepening social, economic, and political turmoil is affecting a way of aspects of life. As the crisis deepened and pressure grew on the Biden administration, which also confirmed with the increased number of Haitian migrants at its southwestern border, Vice President Kamala Harris began bringing up Haiti last month in a discussion with the foreign leaders. The vice president did raise Haiti with President Macron in Paris. A White House official said Harris also raised the master in her discussions with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada and Prime Minister Boris Johnson of the United Kingdom. France and the UK were among those who supported the 2017 withdrawal of the United Nations peacekeeping mission from Haiti, along with Samantha Power, then U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, despite warnings it was too early. With the United Nations Security Council not addressing the security concerns in Haiti, some are now raising the possibility of Haiti's foreign partners coming together to assist Haiti's national police with training. The Dominican Republic shares which shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti and has been invited to participate. He has been invited to participate, has called for even stronger intervention, stopping short of saying a United Nations. Peacekeeping force should return. Sources say security would be a top concern, along with the economics and governance among the U.S., the United Nations, and the organization. So, and the organization American States partners could also weigh in on election ahead of February 7th, 2022, when the current government will have even less legitimacy, despite assertions that Moy's term expired on February 7, 2021. The U.S., UN, and OAS all asserted that this presidential mandate ends on February 7, 2022. Though the international community has stopped publicly pressuring Haiti to hold elections, interim Prime Minister Ariel Henry, appointed by Moise before his July 7th assassination, has discovered balancing for a new president, parliament, and local elections next year, as well as voting on a new constitution. Members of civil Members of civil society continue to push for a 2-year transition. On Sunday, the Civic Society Coalition, which has its own political accord, installed a National Transitional Council, the first step towards mounting a government with a president to run the country. With both sides at an impasse and Haiti's political landscape deteriorating daily, and 4.2 million Haitians facing hunger, the country's foreign parties face a huge challenge and so far have been reluctant to step into the fray following criticism of their previous involvement in Haiti's affairs. Brian Nichols, Assistant Secretary of State for Western Hemisphere Affairs, will chair the virtual meeting with international and organizations and foreign governments. So I'm happy for the hostages that they're out and about. They can basically get back to their lives. I know some of them are traumatized, but it is what it is. I hope they get the needed help. So, this is Haiti. Haiti has been going through a lot, the hurricanes and the storms, and now this. Just can't catch a break. But I'm happy that they're safe. Let me know what you thought about the article in the comment section. Excuse me. So thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this. Hit that notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you love what you hear, you can donate to the page by Cash Apping me at that link. At the link. So, thank you guys again. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, share this. Hit that notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you love what you hear, you can donate to the page by hitting the link in the description box, like I was saying. And you could donate $1, you could donate $1,000,000. Doesn't matter, whatever you give is much accepted. So thank you guys for listening, and we're out. The Dazier report is signing off. Good night.